Hello everyone and welcome to our new lesson. Our today's lesson is about creating a database using the MySQL software. As we studied before, we learned how to install XAMPP, and we have this window. We use this window to run XAMPP program. So the first step to create our database using the program which is called MySQL as follows. Follow me in these steps. Number one, we type here XAMPP control panel. Okay, and when you have a XAMPP control panel window which will appear like this, you just run the two programs which are Apache and MySQL. So you just click on Start button beside the program Apache and the Start button beside MySQL. And as we knew before, MySQL is a program that enables us to deal with database, the database of our website, okay? So to create our database for the website which you are going to create this year, we start by running XAMPP program. How to run XAMPP program? We type here XAMPP control panel and you just click on these two buttons, right? Okay, what else? After you run XAMPP and you run Apache and the MySQL programs, you just go to your browser, okay, which is Microsoft Edge, and you type here in the URL bar, you just type localhost / phpMyAdmin. Again, you type localhost / phpMyAdmin. Okay, and this URL, it will redirect you to the page of your database application. phpMyAdmin is the program which enables you to create databases. Okay, so we use this program to create our database, which we will store our data inside this database, right? What are you going to do in this window? You just click on this tab, which is databases. Okay, this is step number one. Okay, and click on new. Right? Here, create database. I make zoom here to be clear for you. Okay, so you create database, you just write or type your database name here, and we will choose the name DB Dictionary. Okay, so again, to create our database, our new database, we do as follows. We click on new, and here in this text box, create database, we type the name of our database. And this name, you can choose any name, but this name is in our activity book, so we will type DB Dictionary. And click on create, which means create the new database, right? After you click create, this window will appear. If you look here at this left side of your window, you will notice that your database has been created. This is the database which you have just created, DB Dictionary. Okay, and here in this right side of your window, he needs to determine the table name, create table. He asks you to type the name of the table inside your database. And here we will type terms. So the database here in our project consists of one table, which is called terms, and you have here to type the number of columns that you want this table to consist them. And here we will type 5, okay? So here, DB dictionary is your database name. This database includes one table, which is called terms, and this table will consist of 5 columns. So here in this window, just type the name of database table and determine the number of its columns and hit go. In the following window, you have to do some steps. First, you have to notice here the table name is terms, and here is your DB dictionary, which is the name of your database. Here, under the word name, here, you have to type here the name of the 5 fields which you determined, okay? And as we have in our activity book, we will call these fields as follows. The first field will be called as ID field, right? The second one will be term. The third will be trans, which stands for translation. And the fourth will be def, stands for definition. And the last field will be pictures. Okay, so here we determine the name of the fields which will be in our table, which is called terms, and we have 5 fields, which means 5 columns. Their names are ID, term, trans stands for translation, and def, and the last one is picture. Okay. In the second column, we have here the property which is type, because as we have studied before, each field must have name, type, and size or length. You have to determine these properties of each field. ID field, we determine its type, and it will be integer as it is. But the second field, which is term, will be, we will choose varchar, and so on for the next fields. You determine all of them varchar, which means they will include text data. Okay, so we have here we determine the names of the fields, and after that we determined the type of each field. Okay, after that you have to determine the size of the length of each field. The first one, which is ID, we will type 11. After that 500. Okay, and trans also 500, and definition it will be larger in size, so we will determine its size as 5,000, and the last one will be 300. Okay, so we determine the name of each field, the type, and the length or the size of each field. After that, you have to determine another thing. Here, beside the ID field, you have to set it as a primary key field. How? You go underneath the index label here, and you choose primary, which means that the ID field will be the primary key field that we will use to connect between database tables. Okay, and you just click here under the word AI, which means auto increment. And that means that you are not in need to add its value. It will be added automatically. The last thing here, you will determine in this database table, beside the word trans, it means translation, which means if you type the term in English, so you have to have its translation in Arabic. So to be able to deal with Arabic letter correctly, you have to choose here this encoding or encryption style, which is UTF-8. Okay. This second choice, underneath this word UTF-8, you choose the second choice, which means that the field translation will deal with Arabic letters. So again, in this window, we did some steps. Number one, we determine the name of the fields of the table terms, and then you determine the type of each field and the size of each field. And for the field which is ID, we determined two things. Number one, underneath the word index, we choose primary and we check auto increment. And the last thing here in this window, we choose this encoding style, which is UTF-8, beside the field translation. After you finish all of this, you just hit save. And this means that you have created your database. And here, if you click on this button, which is structure, you have your database table, which is called terms, okay? And this terms or this table is included inside the database, which is called DB dictionary. And terms table consists of these fields, 5 fields. And here are the characteristics of each field as we have determined in the previous window. Okay? So now we studied how to create our database using MySQL program. Thank you for watching. And if you have any question, feel free to ask me anytime. Okay? Thank you and goodbye for watching.